I saved my daughter from choking. Then I discovered who caused the entire emergency. The smell of charred ribeye and cheap vanilla candles usually makes me feel at home, but tonight it felt like a suffocating trap. We were at a steakhouse in Austin, Texas, celebrating my husband's birthday. My 2-year-old daughter Lily was sitting right next to me. Suddenly, the ambient chatter of the restaurant faded into a terrifying silence. I looked down. Lily wasn't making a sound. Her face was turning a deep, horrifying shade of purple. Her tiny hands clutched desperately at her throat. No air was coming out. Zero. Instinct completely overrode my panic. I ripped her out of her high chair, flipped her face down over my forearm, tilted her head lower than her chest, and began delivering hard, rhythmic back blows between her shoulder blades with the heel of my hand. From across the table, a screech shattered the air. It was Eleanor, my mother-in-law. She screamed, asking what the hell I was doing to her granddaughter. Her voice cut through the restaurant like a blade. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My heart pounded in my ears like a war drum as I delivered the fourth blow, then the fifth. With a wet gasp, a piece of steak flew out of Lily's mouth and hit the floor. She burst into a hysterical, beautiful cry. She was breathing. I pulled her sobbing body against my chest. My hands shook so violently I could barely hold her. Eleanor stood up and marched around the table. The terror in the room didn't vanish. It just shifted targets. There was no relief in her eyes, only a manic kind of fury. She pointed a manicured finger at me, accusing me of violently beating my child. She insisted that everyone knows you're supposed to use the Heimlich maneuver and called my actions completely backward and abusive. I tried to keep my voice steady, explaining through gritted teeth that the Heimlich can rupture a toddler's internal organs and that back blows are the standard medical procedure for children this small. I prayed my husband would step in and defend me. But when Eleanor turned to him demanding he admit I did it on purpose to hurt our daughter, his silence spoke volumes. He just stared at his plate, muttering that Lily was fine, and it worked. He wouldn't look me in the eye. His cowardice entirely broke me. Eleanor weaponized his weakness. She claimed my parenting class was a lie and bragged about her 35 years of motherhood. When our waiter approached to check on the commotion, Eleanor physically grabbed his arm. She demanded he call the police, loudly proclaiming to the entire dining room that she had just witnessed a mother assaulting her child. The restaurant manager finally rushed over to de-escalate the situation. But when he listened to my explanation, he sighed and gently corrected her, stating that back blows are in fact the recommended technique for toddlers. Eleanor lost her mind. She slammed her hand on the table, demanding the corporate office number and screaming that I was incompetent and unstable. She looked at my husband and told him to file for divorce to protect Lily from her own mother. Eleanor has her phone out. She was filming Lily's back, shouting into the lens that she was sending the footage of the red marks to Child Protective Services, her lawyer, and the family group chat. She was typing furiously, uploading it to Facebook in real time and calling me a monster. Something inside me snapped. The years of swallowing her insults, the years of her passive-aggressive torture, it all evaporated. I put Lily back in her chair and stood up. The ringing in my ears stopped and was replaced by a cold, deadly clarity. I asked her if she really wanted to talk about keeping children safe. Eleanor sneered and told me I didn't know anything. I took a step closer. The entire restaurant seemed to go dead silent. I looked her dead in the eye and asked, "Where were you when Leo choked to death?" Eleanor's face instantly drained of all color. She looked like she had been struck by lightning. She whispered for me to shut my mouth, but I didn't. I made sure every single person in that restaurant heard me. I told her that her other grandson had choked to death while she was supposed to be babysitting him because she was in the living room watching television, entirely oblivious. I told her she lost a child due to her own negligence, so she didn't get to lecture me about how to keep mine alive. Eleanor grabbed her purse. Her hands trembled harder than mine ever had, and she walked out into the night without a single word. My husband looked at me in absolute horror. Realizing the war in our family was officially over, I never spoke to her again. We divorced 6 months later. My husband could never forgive me for weaponizing his late nephew's death to break his mother. I accept that, but a year after the divorce, I received a certified letter in the mail from a digital forensics firm. When I opened the file, it contained a downloaded archive of Eleanor's private cloud storage from the night of the incident. She had accidentally left her account logged into my daughter's old iPad. I found a deleted video file recorded 10 minutes before Lily started choking. The footage showed Eleanor underneath the table, stealthily feeding my 2-year-old daughter a thick, uncut piece of ribeye steak from her own plate while I was in the restroom whispering to Lily, "Don't tell your mom, it's our little secret. The moment I saw that file, everything changed. She didn't just misunderstand medical advice, she caused the emergency, she created the danger, and then tried to use the aftermath to take my daughter away from me forever. If you discovered that a family member deliberately put your child in danger just to orchestrate a scenario to prove you were an unfit parent, would you seek legal revenge, or would you cut them out entirely and let karma do the work? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, in the